Three cheers for the end of Regulation F. Hello, the start of Regulation G. Legendary Pokemon are now available, as well as Dragon Cheer is back from being glitched in the first place, so it's actually now legal in competitive Pokemon. We're going to be trying out a team that won one of the first Regulation G tournaments featuring Dragon Cheer and seeing how well it can perform. This is a Koraidon Photosynthesis Dragon Cheer team. The idea of the team is you have the ability with Koraidon, which is able to set up the sun, boost up its own attacking power, and activate the photosynthesis for all of the photosynthesis mons we have here, which is the Gouging Fire, Roaring Moon, Flutter Mane, and Raging Bolt. After you have that sun boost, you can have items on the other Pokemon. So this Gouging Fire and this Roaring Moon are able to hold items. Covert Cloak on the Gouging Fire because it is able to be immune to Icy Wind drops, as well as Fakeouts, which is really nice. And the Roaring Moon having the Razor Claw, Koraidon having the Scope Lens because of the move Dragon Cheer. The move Dragon Cheer boosts up the allies' critical hit ratio, and if it is a Dragon type, it does get a +2 critical hit ratio. And because Scope Lens and Razor Claw give a +1, that means it is a +3 final critical hit ratio boost, which means you are always 100% guaranteed to get the critical hit. And that is the concept of the team. With the Photosynthesis, you're able to get that speed booster, so you actually outspeed the Koraidon as well as the Roaring Moon, I guess, because you can just go for Dragon Cheers and just set up with the Koraidon with the Flame Charge, always guaranteed getting the critical hit. The Drain Punch, able to get some recovery back, do a lot of damage, especially with the Sun Boost, as well as the Scope Lens. And by Sun Boost, I mean the Koraidon's ability, giving it a attack boost while under the sun. A bit confusing there. We have the Gouging Fire also being just a great support, because this one running Breaking Swipe to lower attack output, as well as special attack output with Snarl, because Calyrex Shadow Rider is such a demonic Pokemon right now, so just really nice having it. And then Roaring Moon, also another great Pokemon for the Calyrex Shadow Rider, because it can actually put on pressure. Decent against Flutter Mane because it can catch it off guard with that Iron Head that might surprise them. And Tailwind support for Koraidon is always really nice to match opposing Tailwind. You have the Raging Bolt that can also take advantage of Dragon Cheer, but not a guaranteed critical hit, but just good against Tailwind teams like Tornadus that can give the team a little bit of trouble, as well as potential Trick Room just being very bulky, being able to pivot around quite a bit. The Amoonguss with the redirection, the Spore again helping out a little bit against Trick Room, but redirection just helping out support that Koraidon, especially with Pollen Puff Foul Play picking up again for Calyrex Ice Rider, as well as Shadow Rider, just being able to hit those for some pretty heavy damage. And finally, the Taunt Flutter Mane, which is able to help another time against Trick Room, helps it out against Amoonguss and a few other things. And it's just really nice because this one has sunny days, so in case the sun is gone with Koraidon because you stayed out on the field for a little bit too long, you do have the sunny day to reset it, so you don't actually have to switch out Koraidon and lose your Dragon Cheer boost. This one running max speed with the Photosynthesis speed booster with Icy Wind support and Moonblast. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. All right, we have Zamazenta, Clefairy, Rillaboom, Tinglu, Amoonguss, and I think that's the Water Tauros. It's been a while since I've seen Tauros in games, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's the Water Tauros based on the sprite. So, all right. One of the things I really like is the Koraidon here. Koraidon's pretty good. Like, I could just crit through this team. That is realistically how this game is going to go. I'm going to crit through this team. Doesn't matter if you're defensive stuff. Doesn't matter if you intimidate. As long as I can crit you, it does not matter to me. So I think we're going to do Koraidon plus the Gouging Fire. Seems like a pretty good lead, as I could just set up the Dragon Cheer immediately. Do I want Amoonguss is the question, because I don't really need Amoonguss in this matchup. It's helpful, but I could probably get more momentum with Flutter Mane plus the Roaring Moon. I do think I want to bring Roaring Moon, although it's not really that great, I guess, in this matchup because of its moveset. Like, it doesn't really do that well into Zamazenta. I could use it to boost up my own Gouging Fire, but I guess it's not really necessary. Flutter Mane is definitely more useful here. So yeah, I'll bring Flutter Mane. Last Pokemon, do I want to bring Raging Bolt or do I want to bring Amoonguss? Amoonguss is pretty tempting here just because of the Spore and the Pollen Puff, so I think I will bring Amoonguss. As much as I want to bring the Roaring Moon, its moveset is really not great for this matchup. It is really not that great. Terror-wise, I think I'm going to go with the Koraidon, because I don't want to risk the Clefairy having random Moonblast, and that would definitely be painful to deal with. So let's see what they decide to go for lead-wise. It's going to be Rillaboom, Amoonguss. Oh, that's not good for you, buddy, as I do lead the Gouging Fire plus the Koraidon. We will have the Orichalcum Pulse. I don't know how to pronounce it. This is like the first time I'm using Koraidon in the game, so excuse any pronunciations that I do have here. Grassy Surge going to activate, but yes, we're completely fine with this. I'm going to go for a Dragon Cheer immediately into Koraidon. So I have a few options. I could either go for the Dragon Cheer immediately, or I don't have to. Do I want the Gouging Fire to really take a turn of sleep, I guess is the question. Not really, but I think it's probably okay. I'm going to go for my Dragon Cheer, and I'm just going to protect my Koraidon. Actually, I guess it's a good thing to know because I have no idea. I'm pretty sure Dragon Cheer goes through protect, but we'll find out. We're going to see the Terra from Amoonguss immediately into the Terra water, so trying to avoid the power of a fire move here, which is completely fine. I don't know who they're sporing though, so we'll see, but that means their Amoonguss is now vulnerable to spore as well, so that's something I'm going to have to keep in mind. So we see Fake Out come out into Koraidon. Let's see if Dragon Cheer goes through, because I kind of was hoping Dragon Cheer does go through protect. I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah, Dragon Cheer does go through protect, yeah, as I thought. We do get that +2 crit ratio because of being a dragon type. So now with that scope lens, we're always going to be able to get a guaranteed critical hit. We are going to see the spore into the Gouging Fire, which pretty much is a-okay by me now. This is going to be something. I'm pretty sure I just want to go hard into Amoonguss right now. And I think I'm just going to go for... I think I'd rather just flame charge the Rillaboom and set up the Koraidon for the back, because their Pokemon don't really threaten Amoonguss is the thing. So I kind of like the idea of just going for the flame charge. I don't think Drain Punch knocks out Amoonguss with a critical hit even. Yeah, I just don't really see it. So I think flame charge would knock out Rillaboom, and that would be a pretty big one. And then I can just spore because they really don't have the best ways. I ignore Rage Powder because I'm a grass type. I could spore their slot. We're actually going to see the Rillaboom hard retreat. Okay, interesting. In the Tauros? Oh, Tinglu, which is fine. Okay. But Tinglu can't really do much unless it has Taunt, so I'm okay with this. I am able to get a Flame Charge off. This should do some decent damage, I would say. Yeah, some decent damage right there. Get that speed rise. And Spore going to come out. But the thing is, they have no offensive pressure, which is the big concern for them. And because they're Amoonguss Terra, they don't have a way to Terra out of like any weaknesses here. So Tinglu will be always taking the Drain Punch. I think this is a pretty safe Spore for me, and a just buy turns to wake up. And then I can even Rage Powder their redirection from the, or I could Rage Powder the Spores away from my Koraidon once I wake up. Rillaboom comes in, but at this point, like, thing is, you're not really gaining momentum. I guess like eventually the sun is gonna fade, but I don't think I need the sun to really win this game, as we will take our first turn to sleep, which is fine. Spore into the Rillaboom, but yeah, like I really don't mind this. I am gonna go for a Spore into Amoonguss. I will go for a Flame Charge into the Rillaboom slot. I'd imagine this is Fake Out Amoonguss and swap, but no swap here. We will take our first turn or second turn of sleep. Oh, they have Taunt. Okay. Okay. They spore into my Koraidon as I attempt to spore. Okay. The thing is, you're really not getting much momentum here. I probably just want to go out into... Yeah, I'm just going to go out into my Gouging Fire to reset the Taunt, and I guess I'm just going to Drain Punch the Amoonguss, because I don't want them to spore into an Amoonguss swap, because I think the Amoonguss swap might be obvious, but I just don't really see a reason not to just Drain Punch the Amoonguss, get the chip so it can't stay on the field as often. I could have went for a protect, but I think this is fine too. We will Drain Punch here. A really good hit onto the Amoonguss with that critical hit. That did more than expected. We do get hit by the Rocky Helmet. Wood Hammer going to be fired off, but that actually did do more than I expected. Jeez, that did more. Huh. Okay. That did do more than I expected. Sheesh. I think it's probably okay though. Maybe I just reset here. Like, They're playing really, really passive. I do have Pollen Puff on my Amoonguss. I think I could get a position with the Pollen Puff. The grassy terrain disappears. Just fine. I'm just going to go for a turn where I just go into Amoonguss here for my Koraidon. And then I could also reset the sun, which I think is pretty important. I do reset my Dragon Cheer, but I'll eventually get there, right? I'll eventually get there. We're going to see the Amoonguss finally retreat on their side, which is okay. Is this actually going to be into like the... Okay, Tinglu is not that big of a deal. Okay. As we will go take a turn of sleep. They go for the Woodhammer again, which I'm not too surprised about. Now, I guess the question is, do they taunt or do they double up? But I am just going to try to get Koraidon in, and I am going to go for a Pollen Puff into my Koraidon slot. Because if I am able to get the Pollen Puff, I get to heal back, I think, which is pretty valuable. So let's see. Because I'd imagine they do want to stop the taunts right now, but we'll find out. We do bring out the Koraidon, bring out the sun once again, and the ability going to activate. And once I burn these sleep turns, I'll be fine. Yeah, they do go for the taunt, which I'm not too surprised about. I don't think they want their Tinglu like asleep. We're going to see the Stormy Tantrum. This should not pick up a knockout in Koraidon. Yeah, nowhere near close. We are just going to be able to spam Pollen Puff now into the Koraidon slot and burn some turns of sleep. So regardless, like, I think that this is pretty okay. I'm just going to go for a Flame Charge, I suppose, into... Or do I just Drain Punch? I could just Drain Punch here. And I'm just going to Pollen Puff. And yeah, like, we could just heal back. So I'm not really too worried. Rillaboom probably going to swap out. It's not really a great position for them. I think now that the Koraidon is set up, we're in a really good spot. We're going to see the Tinglu retreat. Okay. Zamazenta going to go hard in. Okay, so they are playing a bit impatient, which actually works out huge for me, as I will be able to get a Pollen Puff. And unfortunately, we do stay another turn of sleep, but that's fine. Actually, wait, was this the first turn? I don't remember. They taunt the... I think they taunted the switch, which is fine. I am able to get Pollen Puff off into the Koraidon. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna go for a Flame Charge into the Rillaboom slot, and I'm just gonna go for a Pollen Puff into... I think I should Pollen Puff into... I don't think you body press immediately. I think I always Pollen Puff the Koraidon regardless. Unfortunately, we do stay asleep, which is actually really unfortunate here. They are able to set up one Iron Defense. Okay. They taunt again, which is fine. As I do Pollen Puff. I kind of wish I Pollen Puffed the Rillaboom, because I would have probably put it in the Flame Charge range. Like, guaranteed. I do shake off the taunt, and now I can Rage Powder if I want to. I think I'm just going to Flare Blitz the Rillaboom, and I'm going to Spore the Zamazenta at this point. So we do wake up guaranteed here. We are able to get a Flare Blitz off into the Rillaboom. That's going to pick up a knockout. The problem is we're going to take a lot of recoil, and I'm worried about how much damage we're taking now in general. So it's not exactly the best case scenario, but let's find out. We are going to see... Oh, they Iron Defense again. That's greedy, actually, I think. As I do get a Spore off into the Zamazenta. And if I crit once, I think they're screwed. Okay. I mean, that's completely fine. Amoonguss gonna come in. Not that big of a deal. Trying to figure out how I maneuver this. I'm pretty sure the idea is to go gouging. I think it's click go gouging, click Spore. Yeah, I do like that a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna Spore and go gouging, because once I get that position where I can get a Dragon Cheer up into my Koraidon, I don't really care about the Zamazenta, because as long as I can crit through it, like, I knock it out, so that's not that big of a deal. So we just need to get into a position where we can get that sleep turn. We are gonna get one turn of sleep onto the Zamazenta, and it doesn't matter what the speed here is. Perfect. As I will get the Spore off into the Amoonguss, and that's kind of one of the weaknesses that they had on their team, was because they did Terra with the Amoonguss. Yeah, we're completely fine. So Sun Phase, which is actually perfect because once I reset it, I think it's going to be really huge. I just got to burn the turn to sleep here. So I'm going to go for a Breaking Swipe, I guess, here. And a Spore into the Zamazenta. Because I don't think Body Press will KO. Even at +5, I just don't. Okay. So we're just taking multiple turns of sleep. They do wake up. All right, let's see how much is... Okay, Heavy Slam is completely fine. That means I get to reset my position. So I'm able to get a Spore off into the Zamazenta. And now I think I just get to go out into my Koraidon very safely. So I will go for a Dragon Cheer and a swap into Koraidon. And then afterward, I should be able to get a crit Drain Punch, I think, and just knock out the Zamazenta. This might come down to some sleep turns, like A, does Amoonguss wake up here? B, do they target the right position here? Because that's going to be a really important factor. Fluttermane can win this endgame, like it really can just win the endgame, but we'll see if it has the ability to. Bring out the Koraidon. Rakalium Pulse. We are able to bring the Photosynthesis back, so we get the speed boost. We're guaranteed Zamazenta stays asleep this turn. Unfortunately, we do stay asleep with the Gouging Fire, but that's okay. Zamazenta takes its first turn, and Amoonguss. Okay, nice. So we have taken multiple 3 turns of sleep, but it's fine. We're going to go for a Dragon Cheer, and we're going to go for the Drain Punch into the Zamazenta. I could go for Flare Blitz, but there is a chance Amoonguss wakes up and goes for a Rage Powder, so I'd rather just Drain Punch. And nice, we are able to wake up with the Gouging Fire. We get the Dragon Cheer up, so that is a +2 crit ratio, so we're guaranteed with the Scope Lens afterward. And this Drain Punch with a critical hit with Sun Boost, I'd imagine KO Zamazenta. Yeah. Okay, we have been fighting for this position for a while now. My opponent has done a pretty good job maneuvering the Zamazenta, but a little bit greedy with the second Iron Defense and the Heavy Slam there. Didn't work out. I'm actually surprised they didn't Body Press, because I'm pretty sure Body Press would have done more. Amoonguss stays asleep, and then the game's 100% sealed because the Koraidon is just looking unstoppable at this point. Like, they bring out the Tinglu. I'm just going to go for a Breaking Swipe plus a Drain Punch here, and there's really not much they can do. So perfect. I do think that was a little bit of a weakness that they had there. Their mons were really weak to Amoonguss, and I'm really glad Amoonguss was brought in this, and we were able to not only just get 1 but 2 Dragon Cheers set up. So that's actually pretty cool, as we will just Drain Punch. Breaking Swipe. Battle's gonna be forfeited. Super nice. I do feel like I probably played a little bit sloppy, especially against the Amoonguss, but I felt like overall it wasn't like too bad. I think I should have Pollen Pumped earlier for sure. Like if I wasn't forced to switch out Koraidon, I think I would have been completely fine still. I don't think I needed the Sun to win, but because I did do the maneuvering of switching out, because the Woodhammer did more than I expected, but I guess that's just probably Miracle Seed Rillaboom just doing that much damage. Yeah, I could have probably played a little bit better against a Rillaboom, but was able to set up a nice position for Koraidon eventually. Necrozma, Duskmane, Incineroar, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, Amoonguss, Farigiraf, and the Enamorous. So this is an interesting team for sure. We're using Blood Moon here. Okay, with Necrozma. So how do I want to approach against this? Because this is actually a very... I would say this is pretty tricky. I do have Tom Fluttermane, which does help out a lot here. So I do want to bring the Tom Fluttermane. The question is, who am I pairing it with? Because it's not really anything specific. Probably a Amoonguss or a Gouging Fire I'd probably want to have here. And I'd probably say it's going to be the Gouging Fire. And then with the back, Koraidon and Amoonguss. Like, Raging Bolt's not too bad, but I'm not exactly in love with it here in this matchup. And then Amoonguss is really good here because it can just disrupt quite a bit. They do have an Enamorous Fairy, which I'm going to have to watch out for, but How Fluttermane looks really tricky for them to handle, and I mean really tricky, because they don't have redirection, so I always just get a taunt off. I already see Farigiraf Instant. This is just a free taunt for me, so I'll gladly take it. As we bring out the Gouging Fire and the Fluttermane, I'm just gonna go for a taunt that I have here, and I am just gonna go for a Breaking Swipe. Seems pretty safe here into the Incineroar. I mean, the only concern is like the Farigiraf, because the Farigiraf's moveset is actually going to be a little bit scary. If it has Dazzling Gleam, it means I can't hard switch into the Koraidon safely. We're going to see Fake Out, but I have Covert Cloak, so this works out perfectly, as I will get a taunt into the Farigiraf. As long as you're not Mental Herb, I should be pretty safe here. So... why did I say these things out loud? Okay, it is Mental Herb on the Farigiraf. That's going to change my Trick Room matchup quite a bit here, as I will Breaking Swipe into both slots. All right. Not the best. Trick Room comes out. All right. I guess I'm just going to have to play around with this. And I guess because like Taunt has been picking up a lot recently, I'm going to go out into Mungus now. And I'm just going to click Snarl into the Farigiraf. A little bit worried about Psychic Flare Blitz, I suppose, but they would have to be that slot. If it's Mental Herb, I don't think you're going to be a really offensive Farigiraf on the bright side. So let's see what they decide to go for here. And it's funny that the Incineroar is just like staring down the Gouging Fire here. Dazzling Gleam? Okay, yeah, that's why I didn't want to go hard into Koraidon ever. Perfect. You go for Parting Shot into Mungus. I'd imagine that means you're trying to bring out an Amorous, which is why I went for Snarl. It's actually really good here. And then I can always Spore the Farigiraf slot the following turns. So this isn't too bad of a position, but it's not like amazing. Yeah, we do see the Enamorous come in. The Snarl gonna come out because I thought that the Enamorous might want to come in through Parting Shot. This works out huge for me. I am able to get a special attack drop onto both. Yep, perfect. And now I can go for... I don't know if I need to Spore the Farigiraf, I guess is the question. I think I probably still do, because if it is the Incineroar has safety goggles, I still think it's 100% worth it here. Problem is I really, really want to get in my Koraidon, because once Koraidon comes out, it's going to be a great mon. I think I just want to click Snarl again. I don't want a Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe's tempting. I think I'm going to... I do think I want a Breaking Swipe here. Or Protects. Okay, so I could have Snarled. It's not too bad. What's the Enamorous going for then? Because I know the thing has Overcoat, so there's no point of going for the target. I think if they're protecting Koraidon, that I mean the Farigiraf, that means it's hard for them here. Mystical Fire. No, it's Specs. Okay. If it's Specs, then I'm actually in a good position, right? By Breaking Swiped, it doesn't work here, but that's okay, right? If it's Mystical Fire, do I really care too much? I made the play is always just to Spore the Farigiraf and Breaking Swipe. Yeah. I don't think I mind it, because the reason is if it's Mystical Fire, that should be Specs damage because, yeah, like... it has to be Specs damage because of the fact that it did so much damage here. So I'm able to get Breaking Swipe off because I want to pressure Incineroar for switch out an Incineroar. I also get some pretty decent chip here. But this is like really important because now I'm actually set up for like Koraidon to actually be able to do a lot of damage. So that's actually pretty big. So if we're going to stay asleep here. I don't know if you're Terra Grass still on the cross, but I think that's like a fear that I do have to mention, because if it is Terra Grass, oh, it's Clear Amulet. Okay. So it should fear. I don't think you're going to tar down a Mungus. I'm actually going to go hard into Koraidon, and I'm going to go for Dragon Cheer. Yeah. And the reason I'm going to make the play is because I think they should be really, really fearful of me going for a Spore into Necrozma, because then they're in a really rough position. So I'm going to try to bring out and get some momentum with my Dragon Cheer to set up a position where I can knock out Farigiraf. Okay. Necrozma switches out. Nice. This is Enamorous again. Perfect. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome for me. Okay. They wake up though. Really early wake. I don't appreciate it. We will be able to get a Dragon Cheer up, but obviously would have preferred it's you know, would have preferred not waking up, but it's acceptable. Gonna try to get some recovery back. I think we Drain Punch the Farigiraf here, and I think we click Snarl into the Enamorous, so the Moonblast or Dazzling Gleams just really don't do too much here. The Terra's a little bit scripted, so I'm a bit worried if they go for the Specs Earth power, but I think I do have to risk it. if I was healthy, like I'd be like, oh, this is pretty acceptable, but hasn't gone my way so far here. We will go for the Terra. Let's see what they decide to go for here. Because if I deny Trick Room, I think I'm in a really good spot. Snarl. Lower the damage output on the Enamorus and the Farigiraf. So a really big question is, what does Enamorus click here? Drain Punch. That's really good. I'm able to get the guaranteed crit. We are able to heal back with our Koraidon for a decent amount. All right, what did Enamorus click? Gonna be a really important move here. Okay, Dazzling Gleam is what I really love to see here. Perfect. Because it does no damage to the Terrifier Koraidon. It should be Necrozma probably coming in. Yep. Perfect. I'm going for a Drain Punch into Necrozma, and I'm going to switch out into... I want to go Amoonguss, or do I want to go Flutter Mane? I guess is the question. I think I want to go Flutter Mane. Because, like, I pretty much have done what I need to do here with my Gouging Fire. So I think getting in Flutter Mane, because they might go Incineroar for the Enamorus slot and protect the Necrozma. This way I can always deny Trick Room. And I'd rather just Drain Punch here because the Enamorus is just not doing any damage. I don't think I have to hard rate the Incineroar coming in at least. So let's see. Oh, they didn't not switch to Incineroar. Okay, they Terra actually, which okay. Is it a resistant fire? Water. Okay, that's actually perfect because I get a free Drain Punch off into Necrozma, so I'll gladly take this. Okay, awesome. This is a free Drain Punch into the Necrozma, so some pretty good damage as well as getting all that health back. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Like Dazzling Gleam, sure, is going to do a decent mid, but not enough. Oh, they actually went for Photon Geyser, so this actually works out perfectly. It did more than I expected. I did do more than I expected. Here comes a Dazzling Gleam. We're able to tank it just fine. But yeah, this is just a save Drain Punch into the Enamorus slot to get the recovery back, I think. And was I Speed Booster or Special Attack to confirm? I am Speed Booster, but I'm pretty sure Necrozma goes on to Moonblast at that range. From Max Special Attack Flutter Mane, I'd imagine so. I'm just going to Moonblast Necrozma. Battle's going to be forfeited. Okay. Because they just never got Trick Room up, and like I think I have too much offensive momentum. With the Drain Punch recovery, I should be... Like, I'm not doing the most crazy damage into the Enamorus, but it's enough to live the Drain Punch, assuming they don't crit. And then afterward, like, yeah, it's really tough for them to actually, like, just break through. What's actually funny is because I think if they actually get rid of my Koraidon, they have a shot, but... all right. Gotta love it, Chucky. Had to play a mind game with the Enamorus. Thankfully, it did pay off there. Hitmontop, Groudon, Entei, Flutter Mane with the Gastrodon and Whimsicott. So it's interesting to see Gastrodon. It's not really a Pokemon that commonly seen, but this actually works out fine. My Gouging Fire does pretty well here. My Roaring Moon actually isn't too bad in this matchup. Flutter Mane's actually pretty good here overall. I'm trying to figure out what my best combination is, and I actually do like Flutter Mane gouging for the most part. I don't really like setting up the Koraidon immediately. I don't think it's really necessary against this team, especially because Whimsicott's just pressuring the Terra immediately if they do it. And Whimsicott's always like a Pokemon that's just like really tough to break through. So I think I'm going to lead the Gouging Fire plus the Flutter Mane, which seems pretty safe here. I do like Koraidon, and then last Pokemon is going to be tricky because I don't really like Raging Bolt. Roaring Moon's okay. I'm a little bit concerned about how much damage we're doing. Rage Powder Redirection from Amoonguss is like the most tempting, I think, here, but it's not really that amazing. I think I'm going to go with Roaring Moon just in case like my gouging goes down early. I like the idea of being able to actually pressure the Dragon Cheer afterwards. So a lot of this game plan is probably just going to come down to like how much damage I can really build up to Groudon. Groudon's going to be like a bit scary here because even with the critical hits, I'm not really doing too much damage. And if it's a Clear Amulet, yeah, it's actually going to be really scary to Groudon. So I'm going to have to really respect it here. We're going to see Whimsicott Gastrodon, which is a really, really passive lead. Works out fine for me though, as I will lead the Flutter Mane and the gouging here. I don't know if this Whimsicott's Trick Room or Tailwind or both potentially. I think the best play here is to just go for a Moonblast into the Whimsicott immediately and click Snarl. Or do I want Icy Wind? Icy Wind's kind of acceptable here. I actually do like Icy Wind a lot and probably just Snarl. I don't think Moonblast brings Whimsicott down to Focus Sash, so I don't think it's just ever worth clicking. I am just going to Snarl here and go for the Icy Wind. We're going to see a Terra come out immediately, which is not what I anticipated, but Gastrodon going to Terra immediately. Maybe they think I'm Specs. I mean, they're scared of me being Specs on the Flutter Mane. Okay. So they go for the Terrifier immediately, which is actually really good because that means I don't have to worry about any Terrifiers from the Groudon. So Flare Blitz is actually going to hit it pretty hard. Yeah, I'm going to come out. We do get an Icy Wind off into both. Let's see if the Whimsicott's potentially Covert Cloak. If it's eject button, that's actually really scary. It is Covert Cloak on the Whimsicott. Okay. As it didn't take any drops. So Gastrodon -1 special attack, -1 speed. We're going to see Yawn come out into Gouging, which is perfectly fine. Okay. So I am potentially unfortunately, the problem is my backs aren't exactly super great here, but I do think that my best play is just to Moonblast a Whimsicott. And if I have to sack my, if I do have to sack here, I think it is probably well worth it. So I'm going to go out into my Roaring Moon, which I would really have liked to avoid it, but not much we can do here. I do think that this is probably an okay position. The Gastrodon's not oh, they actually retreat Whimsicott, which is actually really nice. So something's coming in for that slot. Going to be the Groudon. So they're actually going to give me the speed booster here. And that's actually really ideal because I am able to get a big Moonblast off in the Groudon. By the way, the Groudon looks bigger than it did in previous games. I do like the model is actually bigger representation wise. Photosynthesis on everything is going to activate. Okay. But this is probably Yawn coming out once again. We bring out the Roaring Moon. And what's Gastrodon clicking here? Ooh, it actually clicks Protect, not Yawn. So that's actually really, really ideal in that case because I am able to get a free Moonblast off into Groudon. That's a really big hit, actually. Is that a Solvus Groudon? That did, like, no damage. I feel like that is. Okay. With that information, I can match Tailwind here. I could knock off the Groudon. Both are pretty acceptable here. Icy Wind looks really tempting, and I do like clicking it. I don't think I ever have to Tailwind yet. Because I'm just faster than everything naturally right now, so I just don't really see a point. I'm going to knock off the Groudon, I think, and go for the Icy Wind here. Because just having the speed drops are just really valuable, because even if they race that Tailwind, like at this point, like everything on their team is pretty slow. Yeah, so it's not clear on the Groudon. I'm pretty sure that is Assault Vest. Knockoff going to come out in the Groudon. Really, really good damage. Yeah, almost getting rid of Groudon's huge for me. Precipice Blade's going to be coming out, so... You couldn't even see anything. Also, that did so much damage to Roaring Moon. What the heck? Hey, Yawn my Roaring Moon. Okay. I'm okay with Roaring Moon getting yawned. Okay. I get a free Moonblast into Groudon, and I'm just going to go back into Gouging Fire. I'm not going to risk Icy Wind miss now, because if I Icy Wind and I miss, it's pretty bad. Also, like, Groudon can switch out to, like, Whimsicott, and I think it's better than Moonblast. I actually am expecting the Groudon to switch into Whimsicott, because I think he would want to reset the Tailwind while having Groudon, like, freshly having the speed advantage potentially against this Flutter Mane. But this Flutter Mane is Focus Sash, so it probably doesn't outspeed. But they actually just give me the Groudon, which is perfect. So goodbye, Groudon. That's huge. And now I have a restricted against like their entire team, which is beautiful. They're going to go for Earth Power. They're going to target the Roaring Moon. I guess they want, I don't know what they were really wanting to target there, but that actually works out huge for me. Okay, perfect. So is this Whimsicott again? Entei coming in. All right. I like the idea of just going for a taunt into the Gastrodon and just going for a breaking swipe here. Yeah, I just don't really see a problem with it here. And they're going to protect too, which is awesome because I do get a free taunt into the Gastrodon. Free breaking swipe damage as well. And then I think Koraidon just sweeps in the end. Right? I'm pretty sure. There's not much that they can do here. Breaking swipe. Like, getting more chip damage into Gastrodon is always appreciated as well. You go for Muddy Water. Okay, that's fair. So... Luckily, we can't get accuracy dropped because we have Covert Cloak. That would have been a little bit annoying. But yeah, we just go on a Koraidon now. And I feel we just go for the Terra with Koraidon pretty safely. We set up our Dragon Cheer. And then we'll be in a really good spot. So I do like the idea of going for the Terra. I don't have to as well. I could also just go for like a Protect. You know what? I don't want to Protect against Whimsicott though. I guess I also don't have to tear. Actually, I don't have to tear at all. Unless I'm really worried about burn. But I'm like trying to figure out what I tear and like nothing else is tearing in this matchup. So I think I am going to Terra. Just go for the Drain Punch into Gastrodon and I think just click Dragon Cheer. Yeah. They're going to retreat Gastrodon into Whimsicott, which is fine. Okay. Because I do get a lot of damage into the Whimsicott. Maybe this is a KO. I don't think it would be because I'm assuming this is bulkier Covert Cloak. But if we do, that's a pretty nice start. And then I can just spam Flame Charge plus Breaking Swipe the following turn. But yeah, let's see. I do think I like this better than Protecting though. For sure. Maybe Breaking Swipe was better in Drain Punch, which definitely could have been a better play here. Okay. So Drain Punch into Whimsicott. Yeah, it's not enough for the KO. Sacred Fire they did to try to go for the burn. That does so much damage actually. Wow. It's Life Orb. Okay, I was about to say that did way too much damage. It's unfazed, which actually helps me, I think. It gets rid of my Photosynthesis, but I don't think it's too bad. Actually, it's a little bit weird. So how am I getting rid of Whimsicott? I think I Breaking Swipe the Entei and I Protect Koraidon. This is going to be a little bit weird of an end game. Because the thing is, this set is so weird. Okay, they Encore actually. I Koraidon. Which is fine. As I Breaking Swipe to pressure the Entei. Sacred Fire again into Koraidon. That's an interesting Sacred Fire play. Okay. I'm going out into Roaring Moon, I suppose, and I'm just going to go for a Breaking Swipe again. The problem is I just don't see a way I'm KOing the Whimsicott here. Because just having no mood that can hit the Fairy type is a little bit scary with this team. We bring out the Roaring Moon, they go for an Encore. Maybe the Entei is going to go for Stomping Tantrum into the Gouging Fire slot, and that would help. Roar. Wait, this actually works out huge for me because I get to reset the sun. Wait, why did they roar here? Okay. This actually works out huge for me because I get the free Koraidon in. All right, I'll take that. Because I get the Photosynthesis boost and that's huge. I don't know if they're... I just don't know if they actually KO me. With extreme speed because it's Life Orb, but it's -2. I think my best play is just to set up Tailwind and Flame Charge to Whimsicott. No, it's never the Flame Charge to Whimsicott, right? It's always just Drain Punch because I outspeed everything. Yeah, if I have Tailwind up. And if they switch out the Entei, yeah, I would rather have the Recovery. So I think this is pretty valuable. Okay, perfect. So Gastrodon going to come in, which is fine. They're going to set up Tailwind. Pretty respectable here because I am able to get Drain Punch off into the Whimsicott, match the Tailwind. Okay. What is that Entei moveset though? Sacred Fire, Roar, Protect? I guess they really have like no matchup against Trick Room, so they're like, okay, we're gonna Roar a potential Calyx because we can't get faked out, which is actually pretty interesting here. Although if it's like a frail Entei, I don't know about that one. Entei comes out. We don't go down to extreme. Well, we do go down to extreme speed. Trying to figure out like what the best possible play is here. I'm pretty sure it's just Dragon Cheer to Koraidon and Protect. Yeah. Because if they have extreme speed, that's fine. They knock out the Roaring Moon and then I get a free switch to Gouging Fire. Yeah, they have extreme speed to go for it, but that's okay. All right. Because I'd rather have this position than them going for the Earth Power. Like I KO Entei and then like I think the Gastrodon actually wins a 1v1 here. I don't think that would actually be super ideal for me. I think I have to get in my Entei, and I think I have to get the recovery onto the Gastrodon, which I don't think Gastrodon ever protects. I think the Entei could protect, but I am going to go for a Dragon Cheer and a Drain Punch into the Gastrodon and hope that I can pick up the knockout here. Yeah, Entei goes for protect because they're reading me to target down the Entei slot, which actually works out huge because I am able to get, and probably Earth Power and a Koraidon. So I went for this because I really want to get that KO into the Gastrodon if I can with this guaranteed crit ratio here. Let's see, Drain Punch critical hit does KO the Gastrodon. Yep. And also Entei wasn't picking up a knock on the Koraidon, it looked like, because if it's Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed, Roar, Protect, and you need 2 hits on a Koraidon. And I think Entei might have actually gone down to Life Orb hit into Breaking Swipe, so it's kind of a rough position regardless for them. But I was able to get like a really good call there, and I think just seal it up here. So yeah, we can go for Breaking Swipe safely and just Drain Punch and guarantee to win here. Whew, okay, a little bit of a puzzle. It did work out. That Whimsicott's actually just was actually even though I like prepped for it, it was still really annoying. The Groudon was the easier part. The Whimsicott actually was tougher. The Whimsicott was actually tougher because like Encore was putting on real pressure. The Entei was actually doing a lot of damage, but you know what? Here is to Koraidon just not caring at all. All right, let's go over to games. In game 1, I think the only real big mistake here for me was not going for the Pollen Puff earlier to heal my Koraidon, because I thought the Koraidon would have taken the Wood Hammer a lot better, but I guess because Miracle Seed Rillaboom can actually do a lot of damage with that Wood Hammer, even to resist, they ended up taking too much damage. So kind of had to rely on a little bit of a mistake with the Zamazenta, which thankfully they did go for the Heavy Slime into Amoonguss, which actually ended up paying off really well. If they went for Body Press into Amoonguss, it was still probably fine, but if they did tar down the Koraidon on that slot, it would have actually been a little bit tricky. But overall was able to put on a lot of pressure, set up the Koraidon back once again with the Dragon Cheer, and then just be able to dish out a lot of damage afterward, where they lost their Zamazenta, which was their main focal point of winning the game. Game 2, the Farigiraf stuff was a little bit strange because it was actually Mental Herb on the Farigiraf, so ended up having to play a little bit against Trick Room with the Overcoat and Namers being a threat, but once I found out it was actually Choice Specs, it was a lot easier to handle. I did still have to gamble between like what move the Namers was going to click in the end game between my Koraidon, because if it did go for Earth Power, then it would have actually been a really tough position and I would have probably lost the game on the spot. But because I did go for the Terra and I got the reads right, I was actually able to just keep up the momentum and always just deny Trick Room from there. If they did go for Trick Room, I think it was still playable because Amoonguss was still around and it didn't look like they had goggles on anything. But because Photon Geyser plus Dazzling Gleam wasn't doing enough damage, felt like pretty safe there. In game 3, this one was a strange one because of the Whimsicott being a bit more problematic than I thought, and Entei actually doing a lot of damage, and the Roar was really something. I was not expecting them to go for Roar into Gouting Fire, but it actually ended up really helping out. I was able to get the Groudon eliminated early, which was actually really nice because you saw how much that Precipice Blades was doing. It was doing a ton of damage, so inner Groudon was nice. The Entei was a little bit tricky with the Whimsicott specifically because just not being able to get a Whimsicott meant I had to play around Encore threats, and yeah, that Entei was doing a lot of damage even in the sun, but was able to somehow find a position to clean up the game and got the call right on Entei protecting and getting that Dragon Cheer Drain Punch into Gastrodon for the knockout was the game sealer. Dragon Cheer is something. I've seen a lot of teams with Dragon Cheer recently, and the fact that you can just ignore Intimidates, ignore a lot of defense increases, I think is actually a pretty impressive tech. I'm not sure about a full committal Dragon Cheer team like this one, but overall I thought Dragon Cheer was just a really unique move pool, and it's really cool to see, mainly because we have like a lot of viable dragon types out there, especially in the legendary Pokemon like Koraidon and Miraidon that are really able to take advantage of it, especially with the Photosynthesis boost boosting up all of these Pokemons, which now they actually have abilities so they can really showcase what they can do. And I'm not sure if that's really good for the damage output that they can really put out, but if you do want to try out the team, hopefully the rental code is on your screen right now and still available by the time this video is released. You can check out the details of the team in the creator down below description, and of course subscribe to the channel for more Regulation G content coming up.